Good morning, everybody. I am Shah Shubo. I am a first year doctoral student at the University of Alabama. I am doing PhD in communication and information sciences. My research mainly focus on internet culture, digital media, and especially how the youths engaged with the internet and how they use it for their everyday activities. So I'm very thankful and very glad that I was allowed to present my research in the South Asian Media and Cultural Studies conference here at the Florida State University, and I'm also glad that I am becoming the part of 10th anniversary of the conference. So welcome to my present. My study is DesiTalk in TikTok, uh, cultivating South Asian diaspora youth culture in hashtag DesiTalk. Overview of the text. We have an introduction. I talked about diaspora, the definition of diaspora, talked about South Asian diaspora specifically. In this study, we talked about diasporic engagement, youth, and social media. Specifically, we talked about Gen Z and how they use TikTok. So, in the literature review part, we talked about and we discussed, we tried to bring the existing study related to diaspora, related to youth culture, and specifically if we have anything related to South Asian diaspora. In the method section, we I conducted this study based on digital ethnographic method on hashtag DesiTalk, and then we talked about the analysis and result, and finally discussion and conclusion. So introduction, I already mentioned that diaspora is a kind of buzzword in academic discussion. Diaspora are the people who live outside of their country of origin, means who are immigrant or anyhow they are not living in their home country, but they are living outside of their country of origin. So and South Asian diaspora is world's largest and ever expanding immigrant population from that region. And according to the IOM 2022 report, that over 30 million people from 8 South Asian countries live outside of their country of origin. So these diasporic people try to get engaged with their country of origin in terms of various issues, from politics to culture to religion and different social issues as well. So the youth generation is now, or after the invention or coming of the internet, gave a new impetus in the diaspora people to get engaged with their country of origin. And we see a huge trend among the digital generation, what we call Gen Z, and they use TikTok kind of social media sites. They use video streaming things to get engaged or to represent their country of origin. They come up with different innovative ideas to bring or to cultivate the culture and custom of their country of origin. So the literature review part, we saw how diaspora community is engaged with their country of origin. The scholars talked from the point of culture, tradition, and the point of politics and religion in their studies. They had talk about diasporic identity and how cultural duality is maintained by the diaspora people. Now, a study talks about internet and a new diaspora, how the invention of internet, when internet came, how diaspora communication changed rapidly, and how diaspora people is more engaged with their country of origin, which they called a new kind of diaspora. Um, we had existing literature talked about South Asian diaspora, family values, and especially the women. We had a really extended discussion about women and family values about South Asian diaspora. And finally, we got little study about Gen Z and social media, how they use social media and they talk or they represent their country of origin. In terms of method and data collection process, I use the digital or online ethnographic method to collect data from hashtag DesiTalk site. So through this process, I first open an account in TikTok, and then I log in my account and I subscribe the hashtag DesiTalk page, and I start observing them. So in the last 3 months or so, I was observing and I was taking notes. I was collecting screenshots from their site. So far, I collected around 600 screenshots of various posts of the Gen Z or TikTok users, and I took notes and I memoed all these notes and screenshot for my analysis. So after all these notes and memos and screenshots, I came up with some broad theme about Gen Z or hashtag Desi TikTok site, how young generation talked about South Asia and Asian culture and different issues. So in the data analysis and results section, I came up with some broad theme, as I mentioned earlier. So first, I see the young generation talked a lot about their family, how children and parent always go through some kind of cultural misunderstanding, and in scholarly term or in academia term, it calls cultural lag. So I see that as like one of the TikTok users was talking like, leave my dad and my mom a little uncultural, but she cooks delicious food. So see, they don't like one part of their parents, but they like all the other parts of their family. And second, they talked about marriage and affair and family domination, how family is how family dominate the Gen Zs or young generation in terms of their marriage and affair. They talked about constant surveillance from the parents, like no door lock policy, something like this. They maintain dual identity and friends. We'll talk more about that. And they also diasporic Gen Z and community members, they feel to go in the community, engaged with the communities, but and they engaged in various festivals. They dress they she attire, and they dance, they sing Bollywood music, but they're always panicked when the people, or especially the aunties or like senior people, try to tell them about marriage, about affairs on different moral issues. So they are scared of that a little bit. And then we see they belong the South Asian culture. They belong. Bollywood is a kind of common practice for all the 8 countries of South Asia, and they are very active in festivity and celebration and different cultural or religious festival, like Diwali, like Eid of Muslims, and like Puja. All these things, they are very engaged with that. But one important thing I found, that they are not really interested in politics, and they really don't talk about that. They don't talk about the religion a lot. I see they don't really talk about that. They actually maintained a different or multiple cultural, what we call duality or multiple identity in terms of culture. In the discussion and conclusion part, we already talked that a different diaspora, the Gen Z or like TikTok culture give a different diaspora. They maintain multiple identity. They keep their relationship with friends and family, and but I found that the Desi girl, especially the female, they tell their stories. They have a space now to talk about their experiences, their values, and how they got dominated sometimes some way from family, from friends, from society in terms of their relationships, in terms of their marriage, what time they had to marry or not. And I see they are proud. The Gen Z generation is proud of being Deshi diaspora. They celebrate, they owned their culture of origin. So, in conclusion, I see I have some lacking or some insufficiency in my study. So maybe in future study it will be come up with more multi-method approach in terms of ethnography. Is kind of, if we can add some more method with that, it will get a more healthy research or outcome from that study. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will give me good suggestions and guide to be more active and good researcher. Thank you so much.